guys. In this video, we are going to be solving what we call proportions. This should be a review, but just a reminder, proportion is two equivalent ratios. So another way to think about this is a fraction equals another fraction. So that's all the word ratio means, is just fraction. So it's two fractions that are equal to each other. Okay, so we're going to solve by getting rid of the fractions. So if I look at this first example, if I just wanted to get rid of that dividing by 4, I would multiply both sides by 4. Okay, so I'm multiplying this whole thing by 4. Okay, so right now, here's what I've got. I've got x equals 4 times 3x plus 1 over 2. Now how I would get rid of the 2 is I would multiply by 2, right, to undo the division. So what ends up happening is I get 2x equals 4 times 3x plus 1. So some of you might recognize this. I multiplied 4 times this piece and 2 times this piece. So a lot of people teach this as cross multiply, but that's really what's happening is we're getting rid of those denominators by multiplying to undo the division. But it does end up following that pattern of cross multiply. So I'm going to add up here, also known as cross multiply. Okay, so now to solve this, I'm going to go ahead and distribute my 4. So I've got 2x equals 12x plus 4. I'm going to go ahead and subtract my 12x over. So now I've got negative 10x equals 4. Divide by negative 10. And I'm going to leave my answer as a fraction here, you guys, but I'm going to reduce. So 4 goes into 10. It doesn't go in evenly, but I can divide both of those by 2. So we've got negative 2/5. All right. Okay, let's try number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right to the cross multiply. So I've got 4 times negative 3 equals, and then the other cross, we've got x minus 5 times x plus 3. Okay, so here I get negative 12. Okay, to multiply this, remember this is kind of like distributing twice. So I'm going to take x times both pieces. So x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. And now I'm going to take the negative 5 and distribute it. So negative 5x and negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Okay, so I can see I have a quadratic, so I'm going to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to add my 12 and combine like terms. So I'm adding 12 to both sides, and I'm putting together those. So we've got 0 equals x squared minus 2x minus 3. Okay, I'm going to solve this by factoring. So I've got 0 equals two numbers that have to multiply to be negative 3 and add up to be negative 2, which would be negative 3 and positive 1. Set each factor equal to 0. So we've got x minus 3 equals 0 or x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, so I'm going to add 3 and subtract 1. So there are my two solutions there. Okay, last example. Fraction equals a fraction. I'm going to cross multiply. So I've got 2 times x minus 1 and x times 3x plus 5. Okay, I'm going to distribute to get rid of my parentheses. Here, x times 3x is 3x squared, and x times 5 is 5x. So again, I see I have a quadratic, so I'm going to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 2x, and I'm going to add 2. So I've got 0 equals 3x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay, so we haven't really dealt with a quadratic where I have a value of that's not 1 in front of x squared. So I'm going to show you one other technique today. We're going to use what's called the quadratic formula, which also should be reviewed from Algebra 1. So I'm going to have you guys add this to your notes. It is, so we're going to have this set up. So a is the number in front of x squared, b is the number in front of x, and c is a number without x, called a constant. And here's how we solve. We substitute in numbers into this formula. So negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all divided by 2a. Okay, so we are going to do that with these values. So a is 3, b is 3, and c is 2. So I'm going to plug these into the quadratic formula. So I'm going to do that over here. So we've got x equals, so negative b is negative 3. Notice I just put the 3, not the x. So just the numbers are what go in the quadratic formula. Square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify what's underneath the square root first. So we've got still that negative 3 plus or minus. Okay, so out here I've got 3 squared is 9, minus 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24. All over 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, 9 minus 24 is equal to 9 minus 24, negative 13? Negative 15? Okay, so if this was a positive number, you could leave your answer just like this. We're going to go one step further because we can't actually take the square root of a negative. If you were to type this into your calculator, it would give you an error. So negative, so I'm going to say can't take square root of negative number. So anytime we get that, we say there are no real solutions. Okay, if this had been a positive 15, we would leave it just like this. Okay, so either leave your answer in this form, so it'll look kind of funky because it'll still have a square root in it, that's fine. Or no real solutions if you do get a negative underneath that square root. Okay, that's it for the solving proportions examples. Thanks for watching.